Hey everyone, Roshni here. In this video, I want to build on how to use the power of awareness to build clarity of thought and clarity of purpose. Today we'll be exploring the three gunas. This is a concept in Indian Sankhya philosophy, which forms the foundation of yoga. It's also often cited in Ayurveda as well. The three gunas are qualities that are present in all humans and all objects, whether animate or inanimate. And these are the threads that constitute our material existence. The way that they interact with one another determines the form, the function, and the behavior of all things. That might sound super abstract, but by taking a closer look at these three gunas and the way that they interact with each other, we have a tool to look at how we can achieve balance in our relationship with the mind. These three gunas form the basis of our entire experience, and they are Sattva, which is purity or illumination, Rajas, which translates to activity or movement, and Tamas, which communicates heaviness or sluggishness. So these three qualities are present in all objects to various degrees. One quality always is more present, dominating, but there's an infinite number of combinations between how these gunas can interact. It's sort of like one of those red, green, blue color meters where there's an infinite number of combinations of red, green, and blue, and depending on how you shift one color, the other two will increase their presence. They're always in competition with one another, and they're highly variable. So changing the balance of the gunas, just like we change our moods, nature changes. A given situation might change or shift from one moment to the next, results in an overabundance or an underpresence of one guna relative to another. So let's get into the gunas just a little bit deeper. Sattva, the first guna, is illumination, brightness, the quality of physical lightness. So people who exhibit sattva have light in their eyes. They have a glow of health. And the sattvic mind is one that seeks knowledge in its purest form. It seeks service to some larger cause or higher good. Food that is sattvic in nature makes us feel physically lighter. Things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fresh herbs. And emotional states that are associated with sattva are emotions like happiness, joy, peace, freedom, creativity, inspiration. These emotions that make us feel lighter. They make us feel more buoyant. The quality of sattva is often upheld as the highest standard. It's what we're supposed to strive for because, in part, unlike the other two gunas, a predominance of sattva doesn't cause disease. It doesn't cause some of the problems that are associated with the other two gunas. But there's a little bit more to this that I'll get to later. In truth, we need sattva, rajas, and tamas to function together in order to achieve true clarity of purpose, true awareness. So that gets us to rajas, the second guna, which is associated with activity or movement. I like to think of it as dynamism. Rajasic states include passion, determination, self-centeredness, anxiety, restlessness, anger, worry, but also motivation. Rajas is the mode of action and activity that we need in order to function. It's the drive that gets us up, gets us doing stuff. And if there's too much of it, it can cause anxiety, stress, insomnia, these states that are associated with a racing mind, a restless mind. When there's too much rajas, it also stirs up greed, anger, our ego-driven desires. We end up in conflict with the world and with people around us. Rajas is a very I-focused quality, whereas sattva gets more at the we, at the us. It's seeking a goal not for the sake of self-aggrandizement, but for the sake of some higher good. Rajasic foods are spicy, they're sweet, they might contain caffeine or other ingredients that get us fired up, that get our thoughts and our systems riled up. These are foods that are said to generate rajas, and balancing them out with a sattvic diet helps us to create more harmony and more balance between the gunas in our systems and balance out the sattva, the rajas, and the tamas in ourselves. So that gets to tamas, the third guna, which relates to heaviness, sluggishness. Tamas is experienced as inactivity, laziness, doubt, sadness, boredom, or ignorance. Tamas also has this ego-driven aspect to it. Someone who expresses an overabundance of tamas might be so set in their ways that they don't move, they're self-righteous, they're ignorant, they're unable to see other points of view or to see the bigger picture. In that way, their thoughts and their ideas are heavy. They're slow to move and they're weighed down by their ideas. Tamasic food is food that makes us physically heavy. So it might be meat or fried food, refined processed food. It might be overeating more broadly, which of course weighs us down. But it's a diet that slows us down, that makes us sleepy, that promotes inactivity. So as you can see, it's really easy to place a lot of negative connotations on tamas, rajas. But the truth is that sattva, rajas, and tamas are needed to work in tandem in order for us to reap the full potential of our consciousness. Tamas is needed for rest and for sleep, which is obviously critical to achieving balance. So in cold weather, or if we're physically weakened by illness or something like that, tamasic food might help fortify us. It might help us rest better. But recognizing that the dominance of tamas in ourselves, in our conversations, in our emotions, our thoughts, can help us avoid laziness, complacency, or inertia. It can help us avoid becoming small because of our own ideas. How do we balance out an overabundance of tamas? By seeking more rajas, by surrounding ourselves with people, ideas, art, food, music, environments, whatever, that helps stimulate us, that helps us find passion and motivation. It brings more rajas into our world. It pushes us towards expansion. Rajas is movement, remember. It balances tamas by getting us fired up. Of course, an overabundance of rajas also has its challenges, but without it, we don't have the drive to exercise, to act, to move towards a goal or a dream. But for all the talk out there about needing to crank and crush it and hustle and all of that, which is pure rajas, that kind of constant doing or ambition, it can get exhausting. And an overabundance of rajas also stokes that ego. It stokes the desires of greed, anger, selfishness. It leads us to conflict, to overwork, to stress, to anxiety in our lives. And if that's what you're seeing in your work or in your life or in your inner world, how do you balance out that rajas? By being more mindful of sattva and seeking more sattvic goals, ideas, incorporating more sattvic food into your world to sort of calm things down, to calm the fire of rajas and channel it towards a clear, higher purpose that goes beyond the ego, goes beyond the I, towards something bigger and brighter. The key is little by little cultivating sattva daily by what we let into our worlds and what we choose, how we choose to eat, to move, how we think, how we speak. And over time, this naturally results in moving towards a life of greater balance, greater peace, and greater clarity, channeling rajas and tamas towards the pursuit of a higher good. Helps us see sattva for what it is, which is our natural state. And this helps us achieve balance and greater clarity of purpose. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to Expeditionary Mindset for more food for thought on leveling up your professional and personal reinvention journey. See you next time.